Yo, what's up, y'all? You're now tuned into another episode of the Podcast with Tigmatic. We are here.
Everybody go tapping with the pot with Tigmatic.
Y'all tune into the Pop Podcast. And guess what? There's an episode of me on
and
it.
you are tuned into the Pot Podcast.
And with the Pot Podcast with my boy Tigmatic. You hear me? It's going down.
To follow the Pot Podcast with Tigmatic.
That's that number one.
That's that number one.
Introducing the all-new, all-natural Wrap Patch. The smoking bandage for broken, stale, cracked, torn cigars, cones, cigarettes, wraps, you name it. Here we have a stale cigar with 2 holes in it. We're going to take our brown paper wrap patches and we're going to tear it in half because a little goes a long way. You lick the shiny adhesive side of the wrap, and then you apply it to the damaged area, smoothing it over as you go, like you see me doing here, to get all the air bubbles out and to make it a complete airtight seal. We're going to take our other side of our wrap patch and do the exact same thing with the other hole. These are our brown papers, and now we have a completely new fixed cigar. No need to throw it out, no wasting money. Now we have the same cigar, completely broken in half, and these are our white colored papers. As you see, the shiny adhesive side is the side that you lick. Hold your piece of your damaged smoking vessels together. Apply the wrap patch. And it doesn't even have to be perfect. These are how well and how good the wrap patches adhere. Smooth it around. You can add heat to speed up the drying process. But like we have here, a completely fixed, airtight seal cigar. Odorless, tasteless. It's a game changer, y'all. Get yours now. TheWrapPatch.com. Patent pending.
V-Ray's going too hard though. Don't cry, dry your eyes, take away. When faith be low and trust is hard, take away. It's like I prayed and I prayed and I praise some more. It's like the desires of my heart won't on your mind no more. Drowned in the water, couldn't find you, no car, see a boat. Know why you ignoring me, yeah. Seen people blessed with my request, like now you gotta be teasing. Telling my
live up in the moment. Put my trust in God, cause he never leave me lonely. I was trusting in my homies till he showed me they won't for me. I just wait on God, cause he'll remove them. Man, I'm many talents, I just try my best to use them. Gotta feel my purpose, if I don't, my life was useless. This a different type of music, but who else was built to do this? I just wait on God and let him use me. When faith get low and trust get hard, don't cry, wait on God, on God, on God, on God.
Don't cry, dry your eyes till you wait on God. When faith get low and trust get hard till you wait on God.
Just wait on God.
Made up my mind that I can't be outside his will. That I'ma do nothing but trust him despite how I feel. When your emotions don't change your confession, it's real. You gotta keep your faith strong. That's the simplest I know. Guard what you look at and what you let between your ears. God good, his showers of comfort outweigh all your stress. It's true, I had to share this good news to all my peers. Your timing, not his timing, and the spirit I heard him say. If he didn't do it, no, it's not because it couldn't be done. You just weren't mature enough to handle it. And he ain't just gonna bless anyone. Wait on God. Don't cry, dry your eyes till you wait on God. When faith is low and trust is hard till you wait on God.
Yo, let me tell you this. I deep ball, I run the place, you know. And if you want step to this, a gunshot in your face, you know. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money.
Pull up 4 10 to the flow, ho. Don't get it, can't have it in my home. Respect has been the motto, stronger than this rap. No combo, no blue winners. We play the game, lose cause soldier yourself to blame. Make life make sense, new basketball. Need a full court pressure, I've seen fall. Stay down for my team like Kobe. Stop playing with me, devotee. Magic in every position, like Johnson, I'm cooking the vision. They play making, never had to fake it and negotiating before complication. Try guarantee 3 up, even with a strong, they can't be us. Now you wanna be a queen, bitch, but you can't handle heat. It's skill to be missed, morale we will to kill in the game's betrayal. You believe in Jesus, but you wanna beg and plead. Now I got them on their knees, looking to the sky, right? I don't
Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money. Money, money, we are make that money, money. Money, money, money.
get that money, money. Make them every dummy. Chasing clout is funny, so they hate but act so chummy. Jesus knows my heart, so I can't get even. He knows my head's a darts. You hold 13 reasons, stalling curtain calls. Time for my new season. Waste my time and fall. Someone help me handle feelings. Try to steal my juice and I'm still intact. I made you baby and I can take it back. You was made a fool, I wasn't built like that. Don't innate the weakness, keep it stack. You stay thinking small, so I had to grab the ball. What's in my vocabulary? You told me no how to score. Can't put the price on tag. We just too immune to back. But I live in truth. I let the world look to me for proof.
Money, money, we are make that money, 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 money. Money, money, we are make that money, 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 money. Money, money, we are make that money, 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 money. Money, money, we have it that money, 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 money. Me, I work hard for the money. My focus, money. Don't play with my money. My money come in a bundle, in a bundle, in a bundle. My money, it come in a bundle, in a bundle, in a bundle. My money, it come in a bundle.
All right, y'all. Listen, we are here. My guest is here. And listen, he's a basketball coach. Hey, too early. He's a basketball coach, a Harlem Globetrotter, which means he literally shake any move out there. You know, I use that term a lot, but he's a great guy. And listen, he does a lot of positive things for the community, puts a lot of smiles on people's faces. And it was only right that, you know, by way of Professor D, he's here with me. So without further ado, I give you Les Peewee Harrison. What's going on, good brother?
Greetings.
Hey, what's going on with you? Welcome to the pod.
I need to give you, so when it's important that people know, like, see, I played with the most famous Globetrotters, some of the most famous Globetrotters, Middle Lark Lemon, Curly Neal, Marcus Haynes, Jerry Venable, the list goes on and on. When I came to the team's name wasn't Middle Lark, and Curly Neal had strike, and they left the team, and they started their own team. And that team at that particular year was called the Shooting Stars. And then it was called the Harlem All-Stars. But the marquee and the tickets would always say Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, wow.
So because it's almost like Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, and Dennis Rodman and Kukoc going to the Wizards.
Right.
People still remember them as the
Bulls.
Chicago Bulls.
Right.
So I was fortunate to play with those guys. But the name that we played under was the Shooting Stars, the Harlem All-Stars, Harlem Clowns. There was a bunch of different Harlem teams. But whenever people saw Middle Lark and Curly, they always said Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm glad that you just broke that down for me and gave it to me the way it was needed. So thank you for that. And also, welcome once again. So give yourself your own formal introduction. So I'll give you the solo cam again. Do your thing, brother.
Well, hey, I'm Peewee Harrison, and I am a executive coach, a motivational speaker, and I am the owner of a company called Turf and Ivy Solutions, where we specialize in graffiti abatement, cleaning up communities all around the United States.
Oh, that's awesome.
That'd be me.
So how'd you get started in your business? Let's start there.
Which one, with the Turf and Ivy?
Yes, sir.
Well, when the social, when things start going on in 2000, actually before 2016, teammate of mine, Hollywood Brown, and I, we did this thing called Drive for Responsibility, where we drove a Tesla to every state capital in the United States. And we were contracted by the Statue of Responsibility Foundation and the family of Dr. Viktor Frankl. So we did that. So Hollywood and I are always working to make a difference in the community. And, you know, and I said, because that's what we did. It doesn't make us better than anybody else or anything like that. We just spoke at schools. We did the character education, the Just Say No, and all those things. So it just became a part of our lives. So right. I started that. And then when the riots and stuff started going on, the cities were looking horrible. So I came up with a company called I Choose Love. And we went around and did the same thing. Went around and talked to people about bringing things together, that we got into this problem all together, and it's going to take all of us to get out of it. Then when that died down, the communities were, especially here in Portland, is one of the most beautiful cities in the world. It was just in dismay. So a friend of mine came up with these Ivy products, and we looked at it at doing a graffiti abatement, and lo and behold, next thing you know, we're in business and selling turf and ivy around the country.
Oh, that's awesome. That is definitely awesome. It seems like you like to push for excellence out here.
Yeah, www.turfandivy.com and www.peeweeharrison.com.
That's right. So, can you share what it was like playing with the Globetrotters and how that experience shaped you as a person?
So once again, the team was the Shooting Stars and the Harlem All Stars.
Shooting Stars,
and Harlem All Stars.
Harlem All Stars.
But it's so much easy for everybody to say Harlem Globetrotters, red, white, and blue basketball.
Yeah,
so,
that's what everybody was familiar with.
Yeah, yeah, and they was familiar with Middle Art and Curly with the bald head.
Right.
So it was a very humbling experience, man. I mean, I'm on the floor with Pistol Pete Maravich. I'm on the floor with Middle Art Lemon. You know, and Pistol was a pastor. He was a minister back then. And back then in the 80s, we used to have parts. You know, I don't know if you're that young.
I'm an 80s baby. I'm an 80s baby, so I'm familiar with the part, the tail, the box.
Yeah.
All of it. The Jerry curl.
No, I didn't do that. The real ball players didn't do Jerry curls. But I remember Pistol tried to convince me to cut a cross in the back of my head so that I could be a witness. I said, Pistol, that ain't gonna work for me, man. That's like Pistol. I said, Pistol, why don't you cut a pistol in the side of your head? You know. So no, it was a great experience. I got to meet some great guys. You learn a lot about yourself. I came out of college playing 25, 30 games to 250 games. Mm-hmm. We were on the road every night.
All around the world, right?
Yes. And Middle Arc was really hot at that time. He was really hot at that time. And Curly was hot at that. All of them were.
Yeah, and Pistol Pete was that guy.
I tell you what, the scripture in the Bible, when it talks about King David, and it says that the half hasn't been told.
Yeah.
And unless you're on the court with Pistol Pete, the half has not been told. The half has not been told.
I hear that.
Yeah, he was doing some things, but it was a really great experience, a humble experience to get around and represent our country. And a lot of times we were ambassadors of goodwill. And to know that whenever I played, it was different playing competitive ball. Competitive ball, someone was going to be mad after the game.
Absolutely.
If your team didn't win.
Absolutely.
If Dr. J and them didn't beat the Trailblazers, everybody's mad.
Absolutely.
The great thing about comedy basketball is that everybody's going to leave happy and nobody's mad at anybody.
Right.
That's a pretty unique thing for a job, to have that type of job, that your job is to bring laughter, to bring communities together. And when we were in those arenas, there was no black laughter, no white. There was no black laughter. There was no white laughter. There was no Asian laughter. It was just laughter, you know. And it was good to see kids. There was no division. There was no division in what we did. And I guess I just took that into the rest of my life, because I'm definitely not a divisionist, if that's a word. I'm a guy that's an inclusive guy, and I love all people, and I want to respect all people, and I want to help all people if it's within my power.
Oh, that's awesome. And it's good to have that type of sentiment in your heart, because helping people is one of our main purposes on this earth.
Yeah, and I don't say that like I'm a good guy. Like I said, I just didn't know any other way. That's all I did, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what was one of the most memorable moments of your time with the Shooting Stars?
Man, I tell you what, I got a bunch of them, but some of them we can't say on a recorded channel. But one of the most ones, and I've been told this on many radio stations across the country, one of the best ones, we were playing in Sweden, And we were in Copenhagen, and we flew into Copenhagen. We took a 14-hour train ride up to Skellefteå. So when we go overseas, we played their pro teams back then.
Okay.
So whoever their pro teams was, so we were playing their pro teams. So they're not looking at us really as a comedy basketball team because they don't want to be looking like the Washington Generals. So we come out and we're playing the team. They got a 7-footer. They got some nice players on the team. Middle Arc started. So, man, they're kind of giving us the business. And Middle Arc's, in his mind, he can still go. He can still do some things, he still go. The guy got a rebound, and he just brought his hands down, He didn't try to do this, but it hit Middle Arc in the nose. Man, do you remember The Color Purple with Miss Sophie? She balled up her fist.
Oh, yeah.
Man, Middle Arc balled up those 8-inch fingers. He balled them up, hit the center, the 7-foot dude. And the dude fell on the ground and said, "Oh, my nose, oh, my nose." And then the stands started clearing. And I'm sitting there, and I'm just a little guy sitting there going, what the heck is going on?
Right.
And that was right before halftime. So the promoter came into the locker room, and the promoter said, "That guy cannot play the second half. He cannot play." They were booing us. But what the promoter didn't know, that Middle Arc doesn't play at the beginning of the third quarter. Because if we're playing teams that are competitive, we put our studs in and we get the lead back up so we can do the comedy.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
So we got it, we did our regular routine, and we got at him, and we was giving him the business, and we're up. And Middle Arc went up to, Middle Arc, if you look at it, his fingers were like this long, Middle Arc went up to the scorer's table and pushed a button, checked himself in the game. Man, the people were booing. Boo, boo. And the promoter tried to come up, "Hey, get him out of the game again." Middle Arc didn't pay no attention. So when Middle Arc got out there and we were playing, and they were booing, and in Europe, they throw cups and stuff on the floor.
So how did you guys handle that?
Man, I tell you what, I didn't handle nothing. I just said, I just played, and then all of a sudden you heard this. Then you heard, Middle Arc came out. This is a true story. And then you could talk to some of the players that were there. They were booing him. And then Middle Arc started getting out there doing his thing. He started talking. He said, "Let me show you how to sell this one time." He was doing that. Then next thing you know, people are laughing, going crazy. And I'm sitting here and I saw this total metamorphosis occur right in front of my eye, like Bruce Banner to the Incredible Hulk, right?
Right.
And then it was like 10 seconds left to go. So I took the ball out of bounds and I passed it into Middle Arc. Middle Arc's supposed to pass it back to me so we could go down the court.
Right.
So Middle Arc was just holding the ball like this. And the crowd started going, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Then Middle Arc yelled out. We were at the hash mark in front of the bench at the other end. Middle Arc yelled out, "A tisket, a tasket. I think I'll make a basket." And he shot a hook shot from the hash mark on the other end and hit nothing but the net and ran off the floor like this. The crowd went crazy.
Oh, man.
And I tell you, Connie Hawkins used to say he saw Middle Arc shoot those hook shots and he thought it was luck all the time. But he said if you play with him all the time, you could see it. So he did that, and I said, "Wow! If I wasn't there, that story would be a fabricated story to me."
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That's great. So you guys were known for entertainment.
Yes.
But there's a serious skill behind, what you do.
Correct. And I tell people that.
How did you balance the showmanship with high-level basketball?
Well, when you look at it this way, if you go to an NBA game and somebody gets a breakaway and gets a layup, what does the
Right.
crowd do? They clap. We get a breakaway and get a layup, they ain't clapping for that. You better do a 560 dunk. You better take it between your legs, around your back. You better do something that's crazy. So comedy basketball is much harder to play than straight basketball, because I remember there was a game that we was in Alaska and some of the players couldn't make it on the flight. So it was just me and Middlelark and 4 other guys that normally don't play.
Right.
And I wasn't a dunker, you know, I wasn't going to do anything like that. But what happened was, you got to find a way. So I shot a 3. And when we in comedy basketball, the way Middlelark used to do it, you keep feeding the guy until he missed. Man, I must have hit 10 threes. And that was the comedy. But see, I couldn't fake that. I had to do it. And that's what these comedy basketball players, they have timing and they have a skill set way beyond what you think. Because a lot of that comedy wasn't where people were faking.
Yeah.
It was improvising on what people did or what they didn't do.
Yeah. I would like to think you guys like birthed and one in a way, because the inspiration came from you guys and what y'all did on the court.
Yeah. And the difference between and them would do a lot of traveling and a lot of things. Middlelark was a stickler, and there was more than one unit. People didn't know there was more than one unit of the Globetrotters.
Right.
So there's multiple units of multiple different teams and organizations at their comedy basketball. The thing that Middlelark was a stickler on, he had to do things within the confines of a regular game. The comedy only came if we could get up.
Yeah.
If we didn't get up, we was playing straight. We had to have a 10-point lead, because if we had a 10-point lead, Middlelark can control the game.
Right. That makes sense.
You know,
because if you losing, it ain't no playing around.
and see, that was the difference between the teams, because when we played, teams wouldn't let us get up. We legitimately had to get up.
Yeah.
It wasn't that fake falling down or doing stuff like we Middlelark didn't like that at all. You know, he didn't like that at all.
So I know over the years, y'all probably did some charity games with NBA players, right?
Yes, yes.
So what's a memory from an NBA player that you had, and what was that like for you?
Man, I remember, so we had Robert Parrish playing with us, Billy Thompson, AC Green, and Robert Parrish. I go, man, he's just, he's the chief. He can't really shoot. You know what I mean?
Right.
But we was playing in Phoenix, Arizona, or Glendale. We was playing. There was a new arena that just opened up in Arizona, and we was playing there. And the chief was shooting threes like he was 2 feet away from the bucket. I mean, he was shooting, and he shot it up high.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there kind of going, man, and I tell people this all the time. When you look at those pro players on the floor, you go, man, I could get with that dude. I could do this. But when you get on the floor with them,
it's a total difference.
Totally different story. But the chief was the one that surprised me out of all the NBA. And we've had plenty of NBA. I mean, outside of Pistol. Pistol's the real GOAT of that creativity. Let's say that. He's the GOAT of creativity because he was doing it in high school and college and then the NBA.
Yeah.
You know? So so I think the chief was he really surprised me. I went, wow, this dude is the real deal.
So was there ever an NBA player that you felt like you could just get through with no problem?
Well, put it this way. I was the type of guy, I was real quick and fast. I was real quick, and I was a defensive specialist. So you know what, I could I had enough of a defense presence that, I could play with anybody, But in the NBA, what it is that they call you, when I was getting opportunities for the NBA, they were using me as a situational player. That means just to come in and press the ball up the floor or run the ball off the floor. That's it, to get people tired, and I'm on the bench. So I think that there's a lot of guys that could play in the NBA, but would they accept that role of a situational player? You know?
So as a player and a coach, this is a mental health question, right? Basketball is such a mental health, a mental game as well as a physical one. How do you help players strengthen their mental approach?
Well, it's interesting you said this. I just did believe it or not, a lot of that power is in the coach's hands, because coaches destroy or they can make players. Some of the best coaches in the world, they just got out of the way. Just give Larry the ball and get out of the way.
And let them do what they do.
Let them do what they do.
That's what Phil Jackson did.
That's what I was going to say. Phil Jackson was a manager, but what Phil Jackson was great at, he was great at getting them to be synchronized and work together and understand their roles. And believe it or not, a guy like that people didn't know was like that was Bobby Knight.
Really?
Bobby Knight, when you see the yelling and getting on guys, Bobby Knight was getting on you. Like, what position did you play when you were in high school?
So I'm 6'2", right? So technically that's a guard's height, but in the hood, you know, they make you play center.
Yeah, okay. so let's say you played center, and Bobby Knight. Now tell me how you would respond to Bobby Knight if he's yelling at you because you only took 2 shots in the first quarter, and he's telling you if you don't get 8 shots up, you're coming out the game. Do you have a problem with him yelling at you?
No, because I'm gonna try to produce.
But
that's the whole goal.
He's putting that confidence in you. He said, if you're the best shooter, I need to see you start doing it.
Right.
So he wasn't going to yell at you about bringing up the ball. He wasn't going to yell at you about blocking shots. He was going to yell at you with, he knew that you did very well.
Right.
And coaches don't do that. You know, they either got to get out of the way or they got to learn to manage like Phil.
So did you ever struggle with your own mental health during your career? And if so, how did you overcome it?
Well, the only mental health thing for me was getting up every night. Like once I said that we were playing like 30 games, and I just had to get out there and play hard. But when you got to play 250 games and you got to smile every night, you're arguing with your teammate, you're arguing with your roommate. You know, back then we didn't have cell phones, so, you know, we left a $2,000 bill, phone bill in every hotel we went to. You know, when they said, ain't no use of going home, Jody's got your girl and gone. We went through all of that. So all of that mental stuff really, I would tell you, guys have been on the road for a while, even like myself, it's hard to come and stay home. The mental health is not at home. The mental health is in the airports, you know, and in that locker room. And,
so what did you do to de-stress?
Airport and locker rooms.
Okay. So that was your moment of peace.
Well, it was the moment that we were just, you know, the airport is just that you're just going to relax and watch people.
Yeah.
You're just watching people. And when you got to the locker room, you know how we could be in the locker room, brother.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where all the love is going to happen, and that's where all the fights are going to happen.
Yep. You act a fool.
Yeah.
And they get bananas, especially if you're down.
You got that right. So,
you
know what? I thank God that I just had, you know, I'm the second oldest out of 11 kids. And, you know, I would call my mother and father almost every day, you know, and just hearing that voice and knowing that in my mind that I was representing my father, my mother, my brothers and sisters when I got on that court, you know, that was kind of what kept me fueled and going. It wasn't the money, because the money was funny. You thought we was funny on the court. You should see how many times those checks used to bounce sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, and just how to deal with it and stay out there. So I think the time now, in my age now and where I'm at, is learning how to balance not being out all the time. I still travel quite a bit. I travel maybe 4 or 5 times a month. But man, when I'm at home, I don't do anything. I mean, I
that's
literally
good.
stay at home, you know.
Yeah, that's good. So
what do you do?
What I do is I'm a radio station owner, a podcast host, and I'm also a e-commerce business owner. So I do a lot as well. So
What do
I'm
you do to
constantly coming up with
de-stress?
designs. I'm constantly working on my next shows, my questions, things I need in place. And yeah, man, I'm actually working on getting a showcase going, my very first one. And I just got my first sponsor. So yeah, things are coming along and coming together the way they need to. So
we might love to sponsor you.
Hey, listen, I would love that. I would love that. I need help. All the help I can get, brother. So here's my next question. What are some common mental health challenges athletes face, and how can they address them?
Well, there's two things. It's like, believe it or not, and I think a lot of guys, it just depends, is that when the guys are on the road, their mental health is usually their relationships at home.
Right.
And some guys just leave and go home. And the guys that try to hang in there on the road, we become lost a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
We really do. We become lost. And when you stop playing, that's when it really gets bad.
Yeah.
If you take a look at every player that, not every, this is generally speaking, you know, Charles Oakley is an exception to this. Charles is a good friend of mine. Charles.
Shout out to Charles Oakley. That's one of the GOATs too, y'all.
Yeah, and Charles, you guys prayed for him. He had a disc in his back, in his neck, that he had to have taken out, but he's recovering now, and he's doing well. He's of good spirit, you know.
That's good.
He might go knock down a couple of trees tomorrow just to feel good, but you know,
he was a beast on that court.
Yes.
We talking about somebody that played with MJ at one point.
Yeah. And MJ is a great example. You look at MJ and what his body looked like when he played. You look at Kobe, what his body looked like when he played.
Right.
Otis Thorpe. You look at all these guys that had chiseled bodies.
Right.
And 2 years after they play, you go, what? Their bodies don't even, I mean, it went to total opposite.
Yeah.
And then the guys are waking up kind of going, they're not liking what they're seeing. They're missing the applause. They're missing so many of those things. And that's a mental adjustment that you have to go through. And it's tough, especially if you're in a relationship, if you're married or in a relationship. For men, it's tough having those conversations, you know?
I would agree.
It's really tough. So what do? We lay around, sit around. Oh, you're going to get up and do something, you know? Not all of a sudden people talking to you like you're a nobody, man. And you got to deal with that stuff. You got to deal with that stuff. And as much as you may want to go get a job, you don't want to go get a job that people are going to, you could go work at Nike in basketball. But players are looking at you like, some people are looking at you, oh man, you didn't make it. What happened? You can't even go get a job because if you got a regular job, it makes you look like you're a failure. How many guys live like that?
Yeah.
You get a job, it makes you look like a failure. But I was fortunate that I had a good support system around me. And what I mean by support system was they allowed me to be me until I figured it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have a post class for athletes, college as well, because college is just a fantasy. It's Disneyland. You get all these free things, you can walk around, and then when those things are cut off, man, you got to make an adjustment.
So what do you think about how things are now with that, right? As far as college, like they get NIL contracts, they get some money now.
Well,
do you think that hinders them or helps them as far as their craft?
Let me be they always got money. The money was always coming.
Yeah.
But
I mean, as far as this bigger money
yeah,
versus what it was back then.
but remember, it was relative.
Right.
Yeah. So I think right now it's tough being an athlete because you hear people say all the time that the athletes are better now than ever. And I'm sitting there kind of going, wow, I ain't seen nobody yet that's better now than, I don't see nobody better than George Gervin, Dr. J.
Right.
You know? But I think it's tough now because that Disneyland has become Six Flags and Disneyland. Orlando World and Disneyland and Six Flags, Magic Mountain, that has become much larger. And with the social media, the crash is it's almost like crack cocaine. The crash now is the fall is much greater than it was.
I would agree with that.
And so the NBA, it's all about money, man. It's all about entertainment. NFL, it's about money and entertainment. And believe me, to whom much is given, much is required. And you got to sacrifice. It just don't work. You got to sacrifice. You got to sacrifice your family. You're going to have to sacrifice your friends. You're going to have to sacrifice your relationship. There is not a professional athlete up there that is not sacrificing something.
I hear that.
And so that can mentally be tough on a lot of guys, you know. And I'm just lucky I wasn't that good.
Oh, that's real talk right there. I appreciate your insight on that. So what inspired you to transition into coaching after your playing career?
Well, see, I was always a point guard, and point guards are coaches.
That's right.
And you see nowadays, you don't see point guards. You know, a point guard, I had to know if my center ate lunch or dinner yesterday. I had to know if my two guard was mad at his girlfriend. I had to make sure that I had to make sure that I knew everything was going on because I had to address those things prior to the game. I had to make sure that I ate lunch with somebody. I had to make sure that I did those type of things. Because when you get on the floor, it just doesn't come together.
Right.
And, you know, and you got to know how to, what we used to say, get somebody geeked up. You know, we had to know what buttons to push. So I've been doing that all my life. And then when I was no longer in that arena, and then I started a youth company, a youth organization. And with that youth organization, which was called Showtime Athletics, Leave No Youth Behind. And what I did was I trained coaches to work with kids. I wanted kids that were cut. I didn't want the superstars. I wanted kids that were cut, and I wanted to give them superstar coaches. So the transition, it wasn't really the transition. I was still doing the same thing. I was just doing it in a different arena, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So here's my next question. What role does faith, mindfulness, or personal growth play in maintaining mental well-being?
Faith is the substance of things hoped for, evidence of things not seen.
Seen. That's right.
So you have to believe that you're capable of doing something, the unseen. And sports and faith go hand in hand. You can't separate them.
That's right.
You can't separate them. You know what? I believe I can make that shot. People are arguing who wants to take the last shot, not because they think they're better than everybody else. They just believe that I can make it happen.
Right. Anything is possible.
Yes.
With your faith.
Yes.
That's right.
And the more time you put in, the stronger your faith will get on and off the court. The more trials and tribulations you get off the court, the stronger your faith will be. The more trials and tribulations you have on the court, the stronger your faith will be. The difference is that when you're playing basketball and you're playing, on and off the court, is if you have to do that with somebody else. And that somebody else may not be on the same page as you. Or let's say this, you two may not be on the same page. It doesn't make one better than the other. But there's
Yeah.
not a referee, you know. There's not a referee to say that was a foul, that was a turnover. And when you're taught in sports not to argue with the officials because the officials are making a judgment call on what they see that you did that was an error or a violation.
Yeah, that's a part of patience.
We don't have that. See when you're talking about biblically, spiritually, you have a comforter. When you're talking about in the natural realm, you don't have a comforter. The comforter from the spiritual realm is still in the natural realm, but this comforter in the spiritual realm that's in the natural realm is not comforting you on whether you can make a basket or not.
Yeah.
And so there's where there's a big drop off at times where guys are just lost. And I'm sure girls go through the same thing, you know? I didn't remember the second half of your question.
The second half of my question was, hold on, let me get back to you. The second half of my question was, hold on. What did I do? Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry.
It was the faith. You said faith and something else.
Yeah, how do you manage your faith?
Yeah, it's because you could have faith in different things. You could be when you talk about sports wise, I could have faith that we'll win the game, but I may not have faith that I may play a role in it. So managing faith on the playing field is really unmanageable because it relies on somebody else giving you the opportunity or believing in you.
Right.
You know, and you could be the best guy for the job, but the person might not like your style.
That's right.
You know, and the head office might be telling them, I want you to play this guy more. So what you do is you got to go in the gym. Like you see the Kobe Bryants and Michael Jordan, they were always working on their game. So that they knew that they, you know, some guys, they're just kind of going, I don't want this. You know, if they can't play me, I'd rather go somewhere else. And then it becomes a here, there, and everywhere, you know. So when you talk about off the court, when you talk about the great I am, there's someone that you could go to where you ain't got to deal with a man.
That's right.
But when you're dealing off the court, you got to deal with men.
That's right.
Mankind, that's a woman too. You got to deal with that. And we don't always make the best decisions or best choices, you know, depending on where we're at. Are you at the beginning of your career? It's a little bit different. When you're at the end of your career, you're doing everything just to hold on, you know?
Yeah.
So that could be a very difficult thing to balance. I don't know totally what the NBA has in place, but I know that they have counseling. But a lot of guys, I think it should be mandatory. I think it should be mandatory coming in.
I agree.
And mandatory going out, you know?
Yeah. You know, I think they have, and a lot of the times have such a hard time trying to bounce back like you just was talking about. So to piggyback on that, you know, I think it's hard for them because, like you said, they're used to the crowd, the flashing lights, people saying the name. Now people aren't saying the name anymore, and life becomes tough. It might not be financially tough. Now, for some it is because some people just spend through their whole career, don't invest and things like that. But for those that did, it might not be the financial, but it'll be all the other things that came with it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, what do? You put your faith where it belongs. Like I say, where it belongs.
But you got to have somebody to show you. See, even in the, there are a lot of, for lack of a better word, false prophets out there.
That's a fact.
And
that's a fact.
You know, like sheep, like priests, and they could be telling you something, and you think it's the, you know, just because they have a like we said, a backwards collar on, you think that because they got that backwards collar on, that man, they know what they're talking about.
That's
and
right.
You know what? And you and I, let's not. You and I are not immune to being in situations where we didn't govern ourselves the best way.
That's right.
You know,
That's a fact.
and we were in leadership positions, and, you know, we just didn't do it. And to be able to have those conversations, to go, for me, if I could go back, there are a lot of things. When people say I have no regrets, no, I have regrets on some decisions that I made.
Absolutely.
Because some of those decisions that I made impacted what my next move was.
And it impacted your future. Definitely.
And that next move was not my best move. It was just the only move I had based upon this over here.
And now you have to learn from your lesson and realign and transform yourself so that you can get adjusted the way that you need to be.
But that's
part of it, though.
No, you're right. That application sounds great in theory.
Yeah, there's steps that you got to take, though.
Yeah, but who's around you? What you know? Is your dad in jail? Is your mom doing it? Is your wife this way? Is your girlfriend this way? Is your children? See, all those things factor in.
Absolutely.
It's not just a clean. And when I look at people, and I said earlier, you know, we're all in pain, and we're trying to find a way to balance it.
That's right.
And if we look at people that way, we would be more accepting of people, because we go, hey, look, brother, you know, can you imagine slave looking at another slave? Hey, I feel you, brother. And when he said that, you knew he really knew. I feel you, but hang in there.
That's right, because they're encountering the same pain together. And
Right.
we all go through it together.
But we don't recognize it. What you're doing is worse than what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's just like a competition. Mm-hmm.
I was talking to some of the best, worst people. Now, men are a little bit different. Some of the best, worst people for women to have is other women, giving them advice.
Say that again, brother. Bring it back. Rewind. He cooking.
Yeah.
We ain't no stirring the pot, y'all, but he cooking.
Yeah. and usually, and it's because of, sometimes because of the emotion, because I had a problem with my boyfriend or my husband. Yours look like he doing the same thing, and girl, you should do. And she go out and do. And that girl that told her go back to her husband and her boyfriend while you out there.
Right. And she don't even got a husband.
Yeah. And I think if you really did, the
blind leading the blind.
Women hurt other women's relationship more than men hurt their relationship.
Right.
But then with men, we make stupid mistakes. We do stupid things.
Absolutely. And give bad advice too.
Yeah. But part of the reasons why we don't even seek that advice is because of the embarrassment.
We're too proud.
Yeah, we're too proud. And
too proud.
You don't want to say those things. So it's not one-sided. I mean, both sides got their stuff they have to deal with, but they won't admit it. They won't admit it. Everybody else is always wrong. You see that in the politics today.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Shifting blame doesn't ever help solve anything. So I agree with you there 100%.
And I tell you this, brother. I tell you this. I took a bullet for a whole lot of people. You know, and you know what I'm talking about. I've taken some bullets for people, and I didn't have nothing to do with what was going on.
Right.
And you know what? Those are decisions that we make. Those are decisions that we
I can understand that. I literally and physically took a bullet in the head. So yeah. I got shot in the head 2011, lost a piece of my brain over it. I'm here by the grace of God.
What part did you lose?
The right side. A piece of my right side, the size of a golf ball.
Yeah, but what'd you lose?
A few things. I'll tell you off camera.
Okay, you look like you're doing very well, man.
That's by the grace of the King.
Yeah, I said.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that, you know, and I'm thankful, like you said, who are you around? I have a beautiful support team. And because of my support team, I'm able to do things that most people, when they were in the rehab, they couldn't do it. They couldn't walk, they couldn't talk. I had to learn how to do all of that myself all over. But as you can hear, I'm able to articulate things, understand, comprehend, respond, all of those things. Say it again.
Shoot a jump shot.
Oh yeah, I can do that
oh,
too.
Man, they didn't bother you. You were awful arrogant when you
now
said,
I will admit, my ball game isn't as much as it used to be because of it, but I can still dunk.
Oh Lord, have mercy. That confidence didn't go away.
But yeah, but at this age, you know, it's not as good as it used to be. I might pick the ball up every now and then and try to dunk it or something. But I pay for it, and I get them back problems and them knee problems, and gotta ice it down for a couple days.
You can still touch the rim.
Yeah.
You grab the rim.
Yeah. Yep. I can still grab the rim. I can still dunk the ball. And my nephews, I actually got to give them a shout out. Shout out to E and Shine. Shout out to y'all because they be on my top like, look, Uncle Shine, you can do it. You can do it. And I was like, I don't know. And I kept trying. Now I missed about 5 times. And on the 6th try, I got it in there.
So you must have been a jumper beforehand.
Yeah.
You was one of those freak of natures already.
No, I wasn't like no half man, half amazing, none of that. I just could dunk. That's all. You know, I'm 6'2". I'm AI height.
But
so
that's still what? 36 inches.
Yeah, you know, I could jump, but I wasn't like no super jumper and super athletic jumper.
I'm talking about at your age.
Oh yeah, at this age, yeah, at 42, yeah.
Name another 42 that could dunk.
Yeah, I don't know nobody.
Okay, that's what I'm talking
about. All right, so here's my next question. It's about coaching. All right. How do you use your experience with guys like Pistol Pete and them to teach and motivate young athletes?
You know what? I tell you this. Coaches always expect kids to work on their game to get better, to get more playing time.
Right.
And I think coaches should work on their game to get kids more playing time. You know, and if kids are not being developed, you know, and it's hard for them to work on their game. But so what I believe is that every time a kid steps on the floor, every time, I don't care if it's in the neighborhood, every time that there's a kid in front of you that is willing to listen to the words that fall from your lips and from your tongue,
right,
you should find an opportunity for that child to win. Every time we step on the floor, say he missed a shot and he followed through on it. Man, good follow through, man. Good follow through. You know, hey, good idea. You know, you always, when you put on that, see, I think the coaching should be a crown. And that crown should only be put on that coach. Someone should only be crowned if they have been proven that they could do development, right, and encourage. That's you got to be that way. So when I work with kids, I find something, and even if it's a nickname. I had this girl. She wasn't a great shooter, but she could play defense, and her hair was red. And I used to call her Red Dog. I said, boy, and I let the parents, all the kids call her Red Dog. I said, boy, when I let my Red Dog go, you guys are in trouble. So you can find things that motivate kids to make them. The key is to make them feel good about. You know, you don't fake it, but you find something to make them feel good about themselves, and you can build upon that. But if you're always telling them, if you're sitting them on the bench the whole game, and you're not playing them, you're not talking to them, you're not doing that, they're not going to develop.
You know, I had one of my most memorable games. It was like one of the most horrible situations for me in the same instance, because I played at a POW league in South Philadelphia, and it was a championship game. I played in this game. I scored 15 points. We were winning, and I got halfway down the court, bringing the ball down the court, and I passed out. Right? Got rushed to the hospital. Found out I had a heart murmur. Right? And it was like one of the most heartbreaking moments for me, because they basically were telling me like, yo, you got to chill till this whole close up. That was like heartbreaking for me. So like going back to play for high school, that was a no-go.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was hurt by that. But in the same instance, my team still won. So like something still came good out of it. They played extra hard for me, and that was good. But I felt like that was going to be a moment for me, right? And I look at how some athletes go through things like that, like an injury or something that makes them stop playing the game, and they can't play the game at a high level anymore, and how it mentally affects them. As a coach, when you see people go through injuries and things like that, how do you keep them in good spirits?
Well, the main thing is that you got to make them feel valued. You got to let them know what the why is. You know, why are you here? And the condition that you're in here, the condition that you're in right now, if it's injured, I need you to be a coach on the bench.
Right.
You know, or I need you to coach these younger players up, you know. And as long as people feel like they have purpose, as long as they have a legit purpose, they'll do it. Man, you know how many times we look at the ball boys and managers, the team managers, and we go, man, you know what? Those guys had a purpose, and they thoroughly, and if the team wins the championship, the trainer gets a team manager, and everybody gets a ring too.
Right.
So it's just finding out what their why is at their particular point of their career, whether it's at the beginning, the middle, or towards the end. And we know when it's coming towards the end, we got to shift the mentality of that person. We need you, but I'm gonna tell you what we need you for. We need you to get these young bucks ready.
Right.
You know? And if you esteem them that way, it'll work. As long as they know what their why is, that's a good thing, brother.
I hear that. That was a dope response, and that's shout out to you for that, because that's inspirational. I tip my hat to you. I don't got one on, but I tip my hat to you. You know, because that's very inspirational to know how to comfort these young athletes when they go through something traumatic, because it's very traumatic for them. It was for me when I found out I had a hole in my heart. And he was like, "Oh, you can't play for a while until it closes up." And I'm like, "What? What you mean?" I still was hitting the court anyway. I'm gonna be honest.
I knew that. I knew that.
When they told me that, I still was hitting the court, but I'm not going front though. I would feel it. Yeah. My heart beating super fast, and I'm feeling like I'm about to pass out. And I would just step to the side, like, "Go ahead, somebody sub for me. Somebody come in or something. I'm done for the rest of the game. Sit out or just watch everybody play."
Get us your 15 real quick before you go out.
Right. You know, and now when I, play with my nephews or something, I get tired quick, but, I'm just blessed that I can even still play, I have some elements, like I can't feel the ball with my hand. I can't feel on my on my left side at all. I got shot on the right side, can't feel on the left side at all. Legs, arms, hands, nothing. So, it's hard to control the ball if you can't feel it.
Yeah.
But I still push myself.
You're a righty?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
So I can still shoot.
Yeah. I was trying to put it together.
But they gonna force me to the left every time.
Well, you know what? Not nowadays. They don't even recognize that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't recognize that stuff.
Yeah, basketball IQ isn't what it used to be. Now I'll say in the NBA, there are some people who still have a high level basketball IQ.
Who?
Okay.
Give me 5.
Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Jason Tatum. Nikola Jokic. I'll give him that. Yeah, I see that face.
No, I'm going with you. Hey, look, I'll go with you, bro.
Kevin Durant. I'll say Kevin Durant. It's not like how it used to. I'll say Embiid, but Embiid is injury prone.
No,
He's injury prone, so it's like,
hey, if you got a 7-footer, this is when you're talking about basketball IQ. If you got a
he's a 3-way player, man.
Well, but hear me out. If you got a 7-footer and he's not averaging 20 points around the bucket, his IQ ain't too big to me.
But he was. This is the worst year he had his whole career.
No, but he's shooting fade. If a big guy shoot fadeaways. See, Larry Bird was a different big guy. But if you got a big guy that's shooting threes, and look, you got a
those
big guy,
threes go in with Embiid though.
You know why? I'm gonna ask you this.
Break it down.
Do you think
break it down your science? Give me your science.
Do you think those threes would go down if Scottie Pippen was guarding?
Honestly, I don't know.
No,
I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you why. See, this is today's basketball game. You guys,
it's more physical back then versus how it is now, though.
Well, here's how basketball's played now. You guys go get on defense. Are you on defense? Okay, we're gonna come down on offense.
There is not that much defense played in the NBA right now.
No.
I think that's why they're going back to the ABAP. They're about to bring the ABA back out.
Well, what I'm talking about is they're coming to see when we play, we were opportunists. That's what Magic. Hey, I'm cutting to the bucket. I got an alley-oop. These guys are not opportunists.
Right.
So Embiid, you could take Embiid, and I'm 5'9". You could take Embiid, you could take Jokic and them. They would not bring the ball up the floor on me.
Jokic is physical though.
No, he wouldn't bring the ball up on me. Because he's going to have.
He brings the ball up a lot, though.
No, I'm going to tell you how he brings up the ball. He brings the ball up with no pressure.
You think so?
No, look at the game. People don't pick him up in the backcourt.
Yeah. And it's like he's a freak of nature, though, also.
No, freak of nature when there's no nature.
All right, so I'll say this. Like, if he was going against, like, a Wembanyama all the time, it would be harder for him. I'll admit that.
What about Scottie Pippen?
If it was Scottie Pippen did have like a 7-foot wingspan, right?
No, take away the 7-foot wingspan. He's playing defense.
He was great at defense. So
no, he's playing defense once he gets the ball.
Right.
He's not letting him dribble up the ball like that.
Yeah, that is what's lacking in the NBA. They wait till the ball gets past half court and then the defense get played.
Now, if he was getting played in the backcourt like that, he would give it up to somebody else because it would take him too long to
get up there.
Yeah.
I see your point. Yeah, I see your point.
You're a true point guard then.
Yeah, I actually, like I said, I never got the play point in the hood. So even in the leagues, like the little athletic leagues that I played in, they always made me center. And I'm like, yo, this dude's way taller than me, and y'all gonna put me as the center?
How many guys did you play against at center that could out-jump you?
They could out-jump me. Like I said, I wasn't the best jumper. Like, I could dunk, but I didn't really get dunks off like that because every time I got the ball, honestly, I got double teamed.
Okay, what about rebounds? How did you do with rebounds?
Oh, I could get some rebounds, so that wasn't an issue.
So, see, there are guys that could jump in the layup line. There's guys that could jump at halftime of games. There's guys that could jump in the park. But when it's translated into jumping in a game and being effective, they can't jump. So that's probably why you had to play the middle.
Yeah. They made me play the middle a lot. And it was cool because I accepted it, even though I already knew, like, this is not my natural position, but I'll take it. I want to play on the team. And it's like, yo, you want to play? This is a position we're giving you then. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Well, that's what they do. Ball players just go wherever they need it.
Right.
Ball players go whatever they need it.
Yeah. So, you know, in high school, I played for Orton Reed. It was like everybody wanted to be the star. So it wasn't like no really team effort. I wanted it to be a team effort, but you know how that is. Sometimes there's no chemistry. And when there's no chemistry, you know what that equals to? Yeah. Losses. So we had the worst record in the division. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And we know at an early age, there's some cats we just can't play with.
Yeah. Yeah. So that made me leave and go to baseball. I tried my hand at football. I got hit so hard after one official game. I got hit so hard I never went back.
Peace.
But I played baseball and basketball. So yeah. All right. Here's my next question. 2 more questions and we out of here. What are some of the biggest challenges young players face today compared to when you were coming up?
The biggest challenge that young players have is everybody has to be a scorer. You know, everybody's trying to shoot threes. Everybody's sitting out shooting threes. And if you're 6 foot, 6'1", and they can get a 6'7" guy to shoot the same threes, you know, you can might as well cancel that out. You know, if a young kid really wants to make it, learn how to be a point guard, learn how to be a distributor, learn how to be a defensive player, learn how to be that leader on the floor. If you could do those things, you know, I don't care what size you are. But the biggest challenge now is everybody's trying to be a shooter and don't have any other part of their game. Stand outside the three and wait.
That's true. And a lot of the big men, they want to be the ball handlers now. I blame Shaq for that. I'm going to be real. Because once Shaq started to show that he had dribble, every big man wanted to follow suit.
But you remember before Shaq, a lot of people don't know this. Sweet Lou Dunbar with the Globetrotters played for Houston.
Yeah.
He was a 6'9" guard, and he was pre-Magic.
Yeah.
Magic, you had George Gervin. You had a lot of those guys.
Iceman was definitely that work with the ball.
Yeah, but they went inside out.
Yeah.
Shaq couldn't go out. Shaq just got the ball on rebound and went coast to coast. He wasn't setting up no plays.
Yeah. So, you coach the free agents of the WNBA.
Well, I coached free agents who were trying to get into the WNBA.
Okay. What was that like?
But I tell you what. Coaching younger girls can be a young girls, middle school, high school. When they get up in college, they could be worse than dudes. Attitudes and stuff like that. It was just, it's not my realm. You know, it was challenging. You know, especially
what was the most challenging part about it?
A lot of challenging part about it was with a lot of those, there were girls dating each other on the team. Then there was girls dating each other on the other team. And so there was relationship things going on the team and on the other team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every night it was just kind of not, you know, I mean, I had a great bunch of girls and it wasn't all like that, but that was a factor. That was a factor that I wasn't prepared for. Yeah. You know what I mean? I wasn't prepared for that. And yeah, you know, I wasn't prepared for it.
So it made it difficult for you to coach.
It made it difficult because they had relationship issues going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the competitiveness was like, was it less or more?
No, I mean, girls are just as competitive as guys, but there's just more deterrent factor. There's just more issues that you got to deal with, No, let me say this in fairness. There was just issues that I had to deal with coaching. Now, somebody else may not have those issues because I don't want to say that it's all women's basketball, but that was a
Coach Peewee. Coach Peewee saying to y'all, he ain't want to deal with that drama y'all had going on. Straight like that. I hear that.
One of my best teams I ever had was my middle school girls team, and it was just a joy to coach them. I had every type of player I needed on that team,
Yeah. Oh, that's dope. That's definitely dope. All right. So I said 2 questions before that, but this is really 2 questions, the last 2 now.
Okay.
What advice would you give to young athletes who aspire to play professionally? And how important is mental toughness in basketball? And how do you train players to develop it?
Well, you have to know the landscape. You just have to know the landscape, and it changes. Like right now, everybody's going to the 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have a big kid that could just dominate down low, it's tough because a coach may not feel like I want to go to that guy. I want to shoot threes, but you could win the game by going. So you got to, I would say, speak with your coaches, know what the expectations are of your coaches, because you should interview coaches where you go, because it may not be a great fit.
Right.
And if it ain't a great fit the freshman year, it ain't gonna be a great fit the sophomore and junior year.
That's right.
You could be a good talent, I did a show the other day, and I was telling coaches, some coaches have the offense that they're going to run before they even see their kids. They don't even know what kind of kids they got, and they're going to run off. Well, we've always run this, and
yeah,
so,
you got to know their personality.
Yep, you got to know that
what their game is like,
and
what their goals are, what their ambitions are.
Mm-hmm.
The more you understand that, the better you get out of the more better the player plays.
Yeah,
so,
I think would it be a good thing for coaches, and it's really athletic directors, I think, that needs to do this. I think in the preseason, a kid should write down their expectations, coach write down their expectations, and the parents write down their expectations. And then a coach meet with all those players and see, hey, look, this is our common ground.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This
Absolutely.
is our common ground on this. And then at the end of the season, there needs to be a survey from the players and the parents on how they feel that the coach did,
Yeah. Oh, this is awesome. This was awesome. Coach, if it's one thing life has taught you, what is that and why?
Life has taught me that people are special. Life has taught me that I want to be special in people's lives. I want to meet everybody where they're at. I want when my father died, the song that they played at his funeral that blew my mind was "Let My Work Speak for Me." And I hope, and my desire is that I would leave, and like we said, we've made some bad mistakes. We said some things we shouldn't have said. We've been with some people we shouldn't have been with. We've been in places that we shouldn't have been.
Absolutely.
And stuff like that. But I want people to know that I really did want the best for them. I really wanted the best for them. And sometimes I could articulate it. Maybe I was immature and I didn't know how to say it right. But my goal was to leave an impact that people would go, you know what? He was a good guy. And for my kids, for somebody to say to my kids, you know, your dad was a good guy. You know,
how many kids you got?
Well, half a dozen. 6
that's
girls,
cool. You got
boys.
a whole starting 6. You got the starting 5 and a 6 man.
2 boys and 6 girls.
Say it again.
2 boys and 6 girls.
Woo.
Watch your mouth, brother.
Hey, listen, the more kids a man has, he's truly blessed.
Well,
I only have 2. I have 2 boys.
Yeah. Well,
I've been with my wife since 05.
I tell you what, you have some girls, boy, they'll take you through some stuff, brother.
I hear that.
They'll take you through some stuff.
Yeah. I'm actually, I feel like I'm blessed because the way I was as a young man back in the day, I felt like karma was going to come back to me.
Yeah.
But when my wife got pregnant, I wound up having 2 boys, so I was lucky.
I'm open to have some more kids.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Hey, so that big, are you single?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. If we could have kids to the day that we die, what a blessing that would be.
That would be a blessing. Hey, listen, Noah was having mad kids out here.
How often do you do your show?
Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. 9 p.m., 10 p.m. Eastern, y'all. Y'all know the vibes. On This Is Hip Hop, Dollar Radio, and my station, Going In Radio.
So what I'm gonna do is you're gonna give me a copy of this and I'll put it up on social media.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give a shout out to you. And let's talk about sponsorship.
Okay. Yeah, sure. We could do that. All right. So turn your camera off. Don't hang up though. We can talk about that after the episode.
Okay. Turn my camera off?
Yeah, turn your camera off, mute your mic. Don't hang up though.
Peace.
I'm about to end it. All right. Folks. Listen, this was an awesome episode. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all took some gems from Coach Peewee. Listen, this was a blessing to have him on today. And listen, I hope you guys are excited for the things that we have coming up. There's so much more coming for y'all. And I'm going to just keep bringing some positive people for y'all. Good vibes, good energy, you know. And we just working out here. We moving and booming. Y'all know what I do. Listen, Dollar Radio. Make sure y'all listen to OG Wildman Teddy T on Dollar Radio, where you can catch the podcast on 3 p.m. on Fridays. Listen, you can catch my show on my station, Zeno FM, Going In Radio. Type in, go on ZenoFM.com. Go in the search bar, type in Going In Radio. And you can hear the tunes we got on our station. We got clean, we got dirty, we got a little bit for everybody. We got R&B, we got hip hop, we got neo soul, we got it all. You know what I'm saying? We got gospel rap too. We got what y'all need. We moving and booming. Shout out to my sponsor, Rat Patch. And listen. Stay positive, stay focused, stay encouraged, and keep doing what it do, y'all. Until next time, it's your boy Tigmatic. Peace.
Everybody know it. Y'all tune into the Pop Podcast. And guess what? There's an
Hill,
episode of me on
and
it.
you are tuned into the Pot Podcast.
And with the Pop Podcast with my boy Tigmatic. You hear me? It's going down.
To follow the Pot Podcast with Tig.
That's that number one.
That's that number one.
Yeah.